maybe you list other folks that are there, but start putting the facts out, not only for them, but also for residents. So people can be like, what is this, right? Okay, there's this website that I go to like learn about the facts. Because even at the beginning here, we had that nuance, right? What's broadband? What's high-speed internet? Like all those questions are things that we want to start identifying for people. And especially, I think, for politicians or folks that you can't reach, right? It's hard to be like, come engage in a room with me. So that would be one of the first things I would definitely dedicate is a spot where that information is a clean URL where people can go to. In terms of like continuing the deliberative process, I think, I mean, I would probably run more workshops. I think really if you can do like a half day, or even sometimes you can't get all the stakeholders in the room together, but if you can get a couple with other folks, then you can start working in from their perspective. Because often the biggest thing is just, how do we listen to each other and hear all of our sort of different concerns? And now I think things like the telecom industries and big organizations that we have seen through this work have a history of like suing local options. Those are definitely different beasts, right? Than a municipal, than like someone in the government. And I actually think that to get to those stakeholders, you probably need that mayoral or government support to call them to the table and be like, actually, we need you in our conversation. But yeah, the first thing I would do for that is start with the facts. And then, I mean, it really depends on your capacity. There's a part of me that's like, host more conversations and like move them around and invite and make sure that these results get posted, and write like, you know, distilling blog posts for people so that they understand what's happening. But yeah, it's tough because I guess this would be a larger conversation of sort of understanding how CTNY fits into the larger conversation, to think about how to like strategize around that more fully, which I'm happy to, we should chat.
Yeah, I think like this is my takeaway from Open Data Week is basically that there's sort of a gap in the ecosystem, sort of, although I know there are lots of folks. Yeah, so I was just going to say DSA Tech, there are folks out there working on this. I think, you know, I think I would love to talk more with you all at DSA and think about, you know, what makes sense for like where to put what info, and yep, and ISOC, right? So it just feels to me like we need a follow-up. Like we need to identify like this gap and who, like really understand if there is a gap, and then how it fits into the things that are happening. So our folks, if we could, I know CSE, like I'd love for you to wrap it up. I'd love to just know if folks are okay with us reaching back out.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, and I'm super excited to brainstorm post looking at everything and kind of hear a little bit more about where you're at and offer some thoughts from things I've seen. Jolie, you mentioned town halls. Yes, this in some ways, this is like a modified town hall, but you can do a facilitated town hall. Okay. Well, we are at the mark, but just to quickly close, I just want to ask everyone to say a word that reflects how they're leaving this meeting or how they feel after today. The mural is open. That is a link. Please take a look at other folks' ideas, add things in there on your own Post-its if you want to. I hope that really the conversation continues. And I view this as sort of that start. And I think with a little bit more just digesting what's in those conversations, there are threads and things that can get pulled out to dive deeper. So I'm going to say that I'm really excited. I feel really excited and thankful to be brought into this conversation, something I really care about, and just excited by the ideas that come out of it and the opportunity to to see what comes forward. So excited is my word. And I'm going to pass to Rob.
Okay, I think I'm still feeling contemplative. So I think it was nice to have a space to just think through with other people. I will pass it to Lorita.
Lorita, you're on mute. Still on mute.
Okay. Hi, I'm feeling there's still lots of work to be done, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, and I'm hoping that we can get it done. So, and there's a lot of stakeholders and players, and if we work together, we can have access for everybody, adequate access. And I guess I'll pass it. Like, what's here? I don't know who, Jolie? See what's showing up on mine.
I'll say, oh, I've got an echo. Hang on a minute. But I'll just back up what Lorita says. It's not a it's a complicated thing. And, just looking at this, there's just so many vectors and such a variety of aspects of this thing that is, there's a lot to sort out. There's a lot of work there.
How about Monique?
And I'll pass it to, is Monique here? Monique and I met at a chapter workshop, an Internet Society chapter workshop a couple of years ago. And she's really done marvelous work in Detroit. If she's here, I'll pass it to her.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes, so good to see you again. And my word is inspired, because it's just wonderful to see this type of coming together and collaboration and lots of thoughts. So more than one word, but inspired. And I will pass it on to Julie. Swoop? Is it Swoop? Okay, Julie, yes.
I would say I feel optimistic. I think a lot of the issues around internet access are shared by a lot of people, and I think if we can work together to solve them, then we have a really good chance of success. I'll pass to Erica.
Thanks, Julie. Yeah, I had a similar feeling. I think my word is like collaborative. Like, I think there is so much potential for building these big coalitions and people power to push this ahead. I will pass it to Hassan.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would just like to repeat what has been said in the room regarding the governance and sustainability, which is divided into financial sustainability and technical sustainability. I think those two issues needs to be documented somehow and then discussed again, because they are very relevant, if this is relevant to what we are doing. Thanks a lot. I'll pass it to Stuart.
Thank you. I certainly feel connected as a result of this. Not that I was disconnected, but more folks that are involved in meeting these challenges is great. And I would like to ask, is there going to be a follow-up where we get everyone's email and contact information? I was a little late joining and don't know even where everyone, what their background is, what organization they may be associated with. So that would be helpful in terms of follow-up. Thank you.
How about Julie?
I'm sorry, I gotta pass it on. I'm sorry. I'll pass it on to Greta. I don't think you spoke, did you, Greta?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I feel deliberative, and it's an exciting feeling because I think it's, those of us who are working all the time in digital equity and broadband, there's a lot of urgency and speed, and there's a lot of like racing ahead of stuff that's happening. And yet, if we are going to actually use the democratic process to achieve our goals here, we're going to have to slow down and be deliberative. And Bianca Wiley pointed out something recently that, you know, it's great that we have this new Federal Trade Commission that's going to really dive into trust busting and, you know, all this stuff happening to reform the private sector. But the private sector is never going to act just in the public interest. They're always going to protect their shareholder interests. So how do we actually, I don't want to say reform, but how do we like rediscover democracy and deliberation for what we want to see, even when it's something incredibly complex like broadband and internet? So I'm really excited to keep doing this work with you all, and feel like I've learned so much. So I'm really, the second word I'll use is grateful to CS and Erica for creating this space for deliberation.
I think we haven't heard from Julie Pedicke. Sorry, I'm horrible with names.
No worries. Yeah, I just also wanted to say feeling very grateful for the space. So thank you for facilitating. It's kind of a new topic area for me. So just feeling really excited to learn more. Are there other folks who haven't shared yet?
Is there anyone that didn't?
We didn't hear from Madhavan. I didn't hear Madhavan. Did you speak?
Hi, am I audible?
Yep.
Thank you. So, it was interesting to see one of the new, setups, like, setting a free broadband, addressing a new issue in the community, actually. So I have never addressed a new I generally do not attend social issues in public, but I am into educational community. Yeah, so this was beautiful, actually. Talking to the people, talking to the community, and understanding what goes around.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
It's also really, I'm really touched to hear folks that are coming in that are new to this and that they were, able to contribute. And I think that's really what we want to aim for. It shouldn't be something that you have to be fully informed about to participate and have a voice. That's part of the aim of these processes, is to learn along the way and to contribute from your experience. So I just want to say thank you so much for letting me facilitate and for your attention over these 2 hours. Really big thanks to Greta and Erica for this opportunity. And Erica, thank you for all your help throughout this week. Do you all have something that you want to say for closing?
Just reiterate the gratefulness and excited to continue this work with you all.
And I'll say that I'm going to mention Madhavan as well, because just listening to the Voice New York is setting precedents like across the nation. And I would say because Madhavan's in India, we could say across the world, as a model of what you're doing in terms of pushing the direction for municipal broadband, for coverage, for inclusiveness. So thank you all for continuing to work and push power to these spaces that's being shared across the world.
That's fantastic. I think it's a great note to end on.
Thank you.
And thank you all so much for your time.